Hey y'all, it's Io here from Noodle Nook, and this is one of the vocational work task bin sets that you can use for morning work or work task boxes that you have in your special ed or elementary classroom. I'm going to roll through all of the different pages that are included in this product so that you can see what they look like, but then I'll take a second to go back and show you what the products look like in action, so make sure you stay through all the way till the end. So you'll see at the very beginning there's a print and use guide that's going to break down all the different types of skills that are addressed in this set, including kind of a note on your differentiation levels so you have a better understanding of what the labeling means, what type of activity and what level those labels go along with. We're going to start off right away and you'll see that there's a errorless set of tasks. There are matching tasks that you can use for file folders. There are some put on and matching tasks. There are some without the additional visual support. There's a classifying by categories page, as well as a sorting by type. There's an assembly task where you cut these up and the students go ahead and assemble these. There's an order fulfillment with several order cards. There's 6 sets of order cards without the visual supports, 6 order cards that have visual supports with them. And then there's one that uses inventory numbers to kind of take it to the next level, so students have to differentiate based on number sequences. If that gets a little too repetitive, you can use these different inventory numbers, which vary the order that the numbers are in so that students aren't getting the same presentation when they start to get towards mastery. There's a data collection sheet that allows you to take data on all of those different levels, all on one page, so that your students' data is in one location, and then labels for those sets so that you can label things correctly. There's also a My Schedule page if you have students who are going to do multiple sets of tasks or different activities within your classroom so that they can transition independently and work on those skills. So I'm going to roll through what this looks like in action. So this is one of the basic levels. Remember, you're going to use that print and use guide to guide you along the way, but we're going to talk about all of the different activities that are included. This P1 is a put-in task with a level 1 differentiation. So here we're really looking to work on hand-eye coordination and compliance. The labels are available for you to go ahead and label a basket or container as put in, and a student would target these different icons and put them into the basket. Now, if they're working independently, we're just asking them to put in. If they're doing it with a support person, you could define each of the icons for the student as they put them into the target location. That's up to you. So that's just the basic put in task. If you've got a student who might be working on some differentiation at this level, you can go ahead and have them differentiate between a pencil and not a pencil. So here we have the icons. The student is going to decide if that icon is not a pencil or if the icon is a pencil. This again is just trying to move it forward just a little bit. Now, if this is too challenging for a student that you have that maybe is level 1, you can remove all of the icons and the label for not a pencil or for pencil, and just have them use the pencil icons to put in. So they're identifying a pencil and putting them in the basket. That's up to you and how you decide to set up this P1 level activity. Again, a compliance or basic hand-eye coordination type task. As an aside, I keep all my things in Ziploc bags because it's easier than storing in containers, and I can keep all of the Ziplocs in one container and pull them out when I need to so that I have them accessible. It just helps me out for storage. So something to keep in mind as you're getting ready to print and prepare these things. All right, this is an E2 level. The E is going to be errorless. And there's a little direction card that I included in there just to make sure that everyone understands the errorless nature of this activity. Every answer is right. Here we're really working on a student learning how to take an icon and match it onto the card. Again, at this level, if you decide that you want to laminate and Velcro these items, it's completely up to you and the needs of your students. You can just leave them paper and a student can line them up and set them out in their workspace in front of them and then indicate when they're finished by letting you know. But this again is just an errorless version. All we're doing is putting those icons onto the target cards, and that is the E2 level, so an errorless learning task. As we move on and get something more complex, we move on to matching activities. And these matching activities are going to work with your non-readers all the way through to students who can read. So when we see this D2, it's actually a level 2 activity. What we're looking at here too for level 2 learners is that they are probably non-readers. We don't ask them that they actually have to be able to read any of the words. So here we have several different types of pencils. We're learning to discriminate between those pencils based on type and style. You can see some of these are a little bit easier than others. So a pencil like this that has very clear color indications becomes a little bit easier. Again, you can decide if you want to laminate these or if you just want them to match the paper versions and put them into the basket or target location for finished. As I was saying, some of these are a little bit easier than others. With the very clear color indication, they are a little easier to find. But there are some in the set that are a little more challenging. We have to discriminate at a higher level because there's several pencils that kind of look the same, just like in real life. So we have to be a little bit more attentive to detail to determine which one of the pencils actually matches up with the target word or icon. Again, this is a classifying activity or matching activity for students who are non-readers and are really learning to discriminate with a little bit more detail. As I mentioned before, you don't actually have to laminate these and Velcro if you don't want to. Yes, they might get a little messed up and it's okay. It's easier for me, to be quite honest, to print more than it is to have to go through laminating and Velcroing everything. So I store them in a little Ziploc container and save them for later. All right, so here we have a D3. Now, a level 3 student is someone who's able to read some words and numbers a little bit more consistently than a level 2 reader. So this classifying activity, this D3 level activity, is to classify things based on the target card. So here we can see with this level of support that it is a little bit easy to get done. We're just asking to classify these, but our students are getting exposure to the different vocabulary that's on the card. So as we pick up the card and we match that icon that goes along with it, we put it into our target basket and we get through this D3 level task. There's several cards in this set. All of them are back to school theme that go along with this basket. Again, I don't laminate, I just stick that in my baggie and make sure that I have my label front facing so I can find it later. D3 level. At D4, we assume that our students are able to read words and read numbers. So here we're going to see that there are no visual supports on the target cards. Our students have to be able to decode the words on here, which is a great way to target skills for students who are a little more advanced and who have some reading skill or are working on developing more in-depth reading ability. You're going to see all those words are there. We've got the icons as well, and our students are just going to match those and put them into the finished basket. Here we're going to see the A3. Assembly is A. So A is an assembly level task, and remember when we get to those level 3 students, we assume that they can do some basic reading. There's visual supports on here in terms of the dots on the top and the icons, so students are not out there all alone to do this activity. You probably could have students who are level 2, who are non-readers, still participate in that assembly task, even though it's labeled as an A3. So here is a C4 activity, and a C is for the sorting tasks. This one is sorting similar icons or similar pencils. So we put our header tasks up at the top. And now we're going to go ahead and discriminate between type. And there are multiples in each set, so we have to discriminate between multiples. You'll mix those up real well so that they make sense with the headers. This does come with 6 headers. I'm sorry, there's only 4 shown here, but it does come with 6 of them. Remember when we use those labels like the D4, it's for our level 4 students, and I put the paperclip on those so that you know that that set goes along with all the other ones that are paperclip themed, and you can use them in monthly rotations. We have a C3 here. We're going to see that we're asking students to classify items based on their type, and you can see along the top that there are clear labels and they are different items, not all pencils. They include office supplies, so that you can work on that. This is a C2 level, and we're again discriminating and sorting or classifying icons based on attributes. This one's asking for you to classify a single item based on whether it is a certain shape and a certain color to place it on the matrix. Next we move on to some M level activities. These M are matching type activities. So this level 3 matching activity is going to ask you to match written words with icons. So again, we do need some basic reading skills in order to do this. And again, you're just going to read the word, find the matching icon, and place it correctly. Now you can laminate this inside of a file folder if you prefer a file folder format, or you can leave them loose on paper like this and have students do it. You can also choose to laminate those and Velcro those. That's completely up to you. Again, this was a matching level 3. So level 3 because our students do have to have some basic reading and word recognition in order to get that done. Here we're going to show a level 4, a little bit harder because we're asking students to read on both ends, the icon end or the word and the target location. For this one, we have uppercase matching to lowercase so that they are not identical. I know we do have students who struggle with upper lowercase correspondence, even though they may have some basic word recognition and reading skills. So here you're going to see that the students are able to match the words to their target, and you can set this up again as a file folder or just as a matching activity on a tabletop. Again, this was an M4 activity. Our students have to read the target and the icon. Here I'm going to show you a combination of the M3 and the M4. If this is something that is appropriate for your student, you can actually take the icons in the written version and in the icon version and have students match them and place them into a target location. Again, it just depends on the needs of your students. So at this level where a student is working in between levels or maybe doesn't have uppercase correspondence quite as strong as lowercase recognition, you can just have them match the icons into a set. And that would be a great way to combine level 3 and 4 to make a set that suits your needs and the needs of your students. Here we have another file folder setup. I just wanted to show you that there are mixed icons, not just all one type. The target mat is in black and white and the icons are in color because sometimes that does trip up some of our students. So being able to match those mixed icons on the target location is another one of the matching options that you have in this set. But we also have it where it does it with similar icons. So this one is pencils. These file folder matching activities are an M2, and we're matching all of these icons that matching color to non-color. It's actually harder than it looks. I had to stop and take a really close look when I was doing it for this video. So it is a little bit harder to do, a bit more discrimination in order to figure out exactly where those pencils go and exactly how they match up on there without the color to color cues. Again, you can use the basket as part of your setup where you put your icons into a basket for the students to take those out of and match them onto the mat. It just depends on how you like to set that up. But again, that was an M2, a matching file folder activity where we're targeting the pencil icons. Students do not have to be readers in order to do that level of activity, and it works on a higher difficulty of discrimination. Here we have an F4. An F is for order fulfillment, and you're going to see there's order cards up at the top. They tell you exactly how many items they want of each one, and you cut out the smaller icons so that they're small and handy. The students can fulfill the order and then stick the entire thing into a Ziploc bag, so that's the only other tool that you'll need to have for that task box. The F3 does the same thing, except we've got icon support here. So our 3 level students may not be able to read consistently, but they should still be able to get this activity done at that 3 level. And then we have our N5. Here you have to have really strong number recognition, number correspondence, be able to discriminate very strongly in order to fulfill them according to inventory numbers. So the order cards are just a bunch of numbers, and the numbers are quite similar. And you need that inventory card to determine what item it actually is, how many you need, and then to go and find those to correspond with it. You will cut out those icons so that they have them mixed, and part of the task can be sorting those so that you're ready to do your order fulfillment. In addition, there's extra inventory cards so that all of the inventory numbers are not in the same order for students who start to memorize exactly where the numbers are, as opposed to actually reading the numbers for fulfillment. So if you want to mix it up a little bit, toss in those different inventory numbers. As a bonus with this set, you do get data collection sheets where you have all of the data collection for all of the different types of baskets all on one page. You get your My Schedule cards for students, and you do get some finished icons if you want to put them onto finished baskets or label things in your classroom. So those are bonuses that you get as well. I hope seeing all of these activities in action helps you to understand the variety of tasks that you can have available for students and how they might be able to work up and down level depending on their current needs. An activity like this does go a long way in making sure you have activities available and task boxes that are targeting purposeful and functional skills available for your students. Remember, these task boxes have multiple versions inside of one set, and there are 10 different sets available in the Noodle Nook store, so you can pull out a fresh set every month and still be targeting put in, errorless, matching, sorting, assembly, and order fulfillment skills inside of your classroom. All right, y'all, it's Io here from Noodle Nook reminding you to stay strong and teach on.